this year.
He stated that Cochran was taking off for mental and health reasons.
Okay, there you go. Breaking news. That's
Kirby
why
Smart
you subscribe to this show. Hit the subscribe button and tune in next week.
Yeah.
Breaking news. We done it again this week.
Don't want anything. Yeah, that just happened like 34 seconds ago.
Yeah.
He just broke that. So.
That's so.
It's good to know people.
Yeah, I would assume that it has to do with Muschamp wanting to be on the field. And I don't know that at all. I didn't read that. I'm just assuming, which don't mean nothing.
I'd say that they're connected. That's a little odd.
He's going to be on the field. He's got mental reasons or, family things he wants to do. So, Georgia's going to keep on winding. Now practice, Dean, we'll talk about some practice.
Practice?
Practice?
They practice it? They don't need to practice.
We'll say.
I'd like to see a college football team roll out there without any practices. How bad do you think?
I'd like to see that too. Alabama 1 year, no practice. Just see what happens.
Go 5-5. Don't come on here and say they'd still win it. No, they would not.
I think they'd win more than 5.
You think?
Yeah.
Without practice?
Yeah. They just got so many daggum athletes, man. They're still going to win. I'd say they win 6 or 7 games. No practice.
Brent Mobb said he would take Scott Cochran back at Bama.
He ain't needed there.
Well, 5 years ago, I heard that he was the reason they were so good. So I don't know what happened.
They've moved on to this new science and stuff, so he don't have a spot there. Now, they may make a spot for him because Nick's always about bringing people back. Now, we got a picture up here. This was at Auburn practice this week. The guys kicked off practice last week. Auburn, and limited good reps towards the end of practice. Says they got an early look at Auburn's first 5 in the offensive line in their pecking order. The group included Ham at right tackle, Consul at right guard, and Brahms at center, Manning at left guard, and Troxel at left tackle. Both left tackles, Jackson and the right guard, Keandre Jones, joined the group, but observed from behind the play, as often in the case where they multiply players are in the mix at first team reps position. Now, the QB and tight end things, Dane, this is what was kind of interesting to me.
This is at Auburn.
Yeah. It was interesting how they were saying they were bringing in 2 tight end sets. They're putting their hand in the ground. So,
Pound it, huh?
Well, it seems like that's some old Bama stuff, when they used to, like O.J. Howard type stuff early. And you can run a lot of play action out of that, too. And throw to the tight end. So, let's see here. Reps included some of 2 of the tight ends. One light, what I just said, it with his hand on the ground, and the other offset from the line of scrimmage. So, they're getting things done, and
I think they'll be fine this year.
Yeah,
they got a tough schedule.
Got new coaches.
Yeah. Hey, I heard a lot of good stuff about Mason, Derek Mason. Who's the defensive coordinator, used to coach at Vanderbilt.
Yep.
He's an intense guy.
Yeah.
He didn't do good at Vanderbilt, but
who does?
Can't judge him by James Franklin. But I don't know what my hat's off to James Franklin.
They do. They're a rowing team.
I love Mason. You ever watched him on the sidelines?
No, he's intense.
Gosh.
He's a Muschamp guy.
Whew.
Headbutting when he's had blood on between his eyes.
You talk about getting on some refs.
That's Georgia we're looking at up here. Georgia's hard to think of any Power 5 team doing a better job of addressing its need through the transfer portal than Georgia did with its defensive backfield. With additions of former Clemson cornerback Darian Kendrick, a former West Virginia safety, Takia Smith, and the Bulldogs added another all-conference player and All-American, respectively. They enter camp not only as potential contributors, but likely as starters. Dean has had some shoulder surgery a few weeks ago, so he's kind of up and down, topsy-turvy. He's not 100% back at practice. The offense, technically, Georgia will be replacing only 2 starters on that side, and losing the center, Trey Hill, and their right guard, Ben Cleveland, to the NFL. But the reality is there likely will be much more change and adjustment for the line coach, Matt Luke, over the coming 4 weeks. So,
I tell you, Matt, I'm going to be honest, and I'm not going to go on and state it. You know where I'm leaning. You know what I'm leaning on predictions.
Well,
I'm worried about him. As an Alabama fan, I'm worried about him. I don't think it's the joke. And I never thought Georgia was a joke. But, you ask somebody, Georgia going to win this? Yeah, they've been saying that for 40 years.
I know.
Guys, it's coming. At some point.
Kirby's going
to
put some stuff together.
And I tell you, I don't know. I'm worried. Pickens being out helped their opponents. I hate that for a young man to be out. But
he'll be back toward the end of the season.
I didn't realize
he should be back.
So they did good in the transfer portal.
Yep.
I know there's a great wide receiver that transferred from LSU up there.
That was their weak spot, their D-backs, and that's where they've added. So,
oh gosh, wow.
Well, on our YouTube, when I put up clips on YouTube, I always put up a thumbnail, and the one I made was Georgia versus Oklahoma for the national title.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get people to think, well, he's an idiot. And they'll click on it and say, what did that idiot have to say? It just creates, controversy.
It's still up in there. We got to make our preseason predictions. I'm not so. It's going to be Alabama or Georgia. I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say why.
I'm going to have to study it some more, man. I'm telling you now.
I don't see why it wouldn't be one of them.
No, I'm talking about it's going to be one of them two.
I know. I don't see why it wouldn't be one of them. I mean,
but I may have to
LSU.
I don't know. Georgia's loaded, y'all.
Tennessee. No, Auburn's going to win 6-7 games maybe. They got all new coaches. They're trying to fill out their new offense. Going to be on the road with some tough games.
What do y'all think? Y'all think Georgia or Alabama wins it? Y'all can chime in.
Yeah, who y'all like?
I don't want to lose no viewers, but I may have to cause some debate. I don't know.
Well, that's what it's.
We'll have to study it.
That's what we do. We didn't pick Bama as our number one.
No, picked up. Oh well, no. I mean, you lose that much on offense. Well, I know that they got a bunch of 5-stars coming back, but experience means a lot.
It's just hard for everybody else. Just seems like they make it easy and cliche to say, well, you can't say Bama's not number one as long as Gregor McElroy said that they're going to be my number one, but Oklahoma's 1A or 1B, because as long as Nick Saban's at the helm. And as long as these guys are there, and I'm like, but you're basing that off of what? Mm-hmm. You're basing your new number one pick off of history. Mm-hmm. Well, the history is that the trophy's in the case at Alabama, and it'll never leave. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to make a future prediction, why am I going to make a future prediction based off history? Well, history tells me that more than likely Alabama's going to make the playoffs. I agree to that. But putting on preseason one based off, they don't even have the same quarterback or offensive coordinator. And I'm not crazy about the quarterback
their line
that's there now. I'm not crazy about Bryce Young. He's just kind of sketchy.
They've got a great running back in Robinson, but I'm going to go on and say, since Saban's been there, I can name every running back that he's had regular. I'm going to say that Robinson is only better than one of them. Glenn Coffey. Maybe. That was his first running back. He's not better than Richardson. He's not better than Ingram. He's not better than Najee Harris.
Or Derrick Henry.
He may be better than Yeldon. I don't know.
Yeah, that's maybe.
He's not better than Henry. He's not better than Eddie Lacy. Damian Harris,
he's more finesse than Eddie. Najee was a freak athlete. He caught the ball out of the backfield a lot.
What do you think about Damian Harris? Damian Harris was good. He may be as good as Damian Harris.
Yeah, I'd go along with that. I like him too. I mean, he was in Coffee. All them guys, they were good.
Here's Smitten Bird said this is the year the dogs will take it.
Well, I can't argue. I mean, I'm not going to say that's ridiculous.
No, it's not ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous. Is it?
We'll find out early.
Based on history, is it a studious pick? Yes, it is studious. That means you've paid attention to what they've loaded, and to think that they could beat Alabama because of who they have back, and they've built that defensive backfield. Now, Alabama's defense. I'm telling you though, Georgia's going to have they're going to have a tough time scoring against Alabama. It's going to be tough. So speaking of Alabama, we'll roll over their practice. They had some funky pads on their helmets. Actually, this is the first time media has been allowed into Tuscaloosa for a while.
Really?
Because all the COVID stuff, they just shut it all down. Bryce Young was, of course, taking the first team reps at quarterback. Paul Tyson, followed by Jalen Milroe, which is great. Keep your eyes on him, and Braxton Baker. Now, receiver-wise, the first two we've seen out was Javon Baker and, of course, Michie. The next groups were Holden, an Ohio State transfer, Jameis Williams. Keep your eyes on that guy. This Williams kid. And the third,
receiver.
Yep. And the next was the Hall and say that name right there fast. Thaua Jones-Bell. Thaua Jones-Bell.
You did a good job. That'd be tough in the spelling bee, wouldn't it?
Thaua Jones-Bell. We just talked about Brian Robinson. Of course, he's going to be getting your first team looks.
Who are the other backs? I keep hearing they got great backs. Who are they? I know Trey Sanders is one of them.
Jace McLennan and Rolando Williams. Those are the guys. Those are the 2 and 3s listed with them at practice that day. Now, offensive line, there didn't appear to be any surprises from what they'd seen the day before. In the first wave, Chris Owens is at center, flanked by guards Iker and Javon Cohen. Evan Neal and Kendall Randolph were at tackles with the first group. Now, defensively, we just talked about this. Georgia's going to be in the talk to win this thing, but because of this fifth-year defensive lineman, LeBron Ray,
oh my gosh,
he's a dog. No pun intended. Was not spotted among his position group. He's dealt with a lingering elbow injury from last season. Saban had said something about it at media days. Quote, Saban, a lot of potential, a lot of ability, can really add a lot of maturity and leadership and performance to our defense, end quote. Defensive lineman Brylan Ingram was also not spotted. He did not play in the spring game because of an apparent leg injury. Outside linebackers McCook and the practice field. After that, they left and entered the transfer portal earlier this summer. And then, of course, the two kid.
Well, you got 2-2. You got Christian Harris back, Ray, Will Anderson, who's a stud. You got Malachi Moore.
I like him.
Jordan Battle, who's very good,
like
and
him.
Job. You're not a big Job fan, but
I get on them corners, man.
They have a tough time.
I had a time with Dre Kirkpatrick. You know, he was my guy from Gadsden, and
Ben Birch wants to know if we think Alabama will continue to score as they have the past few years with a new quarterback and receivers.
I would assume no.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, but what's going downhill? You still averaging 30 points a game. I think they can average 30. I don't think they're going to average 45.
But we got to remember too. Now let's think of that in full aspect. Who, on their schedule this year, who are they going to be playing? This is going to be an easier schedule this year than it was last year, because last year we played all conference teams.